The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday in the Riv.
And we are not broadcasting live on Facebook because we had a problem. It won't connect. So it happens.
And I just got off the phone telling somebody to watch us on Facebook.
Yep.
Oh, well.
It happens.
It happens.
Yep. I tried to connect and it wouldn't connect. So.
Won't connect. So, but we are on.
We are on YouTube.
We are on YouTube. All righty then. Again, live television or semi-live, or whatever. Again.
Well, that's one of the problems with dealing with the internet. You're not always getting your connections.
That's right. Well, big headline. Greater Fall River sales prices below state, well below state average, but climbing. Yeah, climbing because all the people from Boston are coming down and scoffing up the property so they can become slumlords.
But you know, they're coming. They're not even coming down. We got local realtors, which are pulling the same crap. They're turning around. They're sending letters out to people. I've gotten a couple of them. Okay, and I've called them and I've asked them, and they've said, "Oh, we'll give you 200,000. We'll give you 220. We'll give you 230." My house is worth more than that. Just look at my tax bill to tell you that. And they're trying to buy everything on the cheap, so they can take them over, do a very minor repair work to it, or a very minor modification, and then charge $1,000 for rent for a one-bedroom. It's getting to be ridiculous.
And some realtor, let's see, Leominster's Keller Williams Realty North said Leominster's, in case you don't know where that is, that's a little rich community outside of Worcester. Talked about have remained historically low. So we're well below.
When you consider that
the average single family sold for
$258,000. I mean, come on.
National, the state average is like 400,000.
Right.
So we're well below. So. But it's the Riv, and they'll try to spin everything. And polls show Massachusetts majority oppose the cost of the TCI.
That's the 17-cent gas tax that Baker wants to put on to cut global warming and cut our carbon footprint.
Yeah, like it's going to stop people. They got a picture, in case you guys look at this, in a Boston Herald. It's in a Boston Herald, but that's a picture of the traffic.
On Route 24.
Up what we were talking about yesterday, at Randolph. Right? There's Route 28 in Randolph just before the split. You can see the sign of the split about a half a mile up the road. And, carbon footprint, my foot. They just want more money. Not a carbon foot, my foot,
Well, the thing is that I guess some of this TCI money is going to go to the T again. Everything's going to the T. I don't get to use the T regularly.
Yeah. Well,
the T doesn't come to Fall River. Why should I have to fund it?
Well, you're right, but then again, who cares? They don't care.
They don't fund it. They don't fund
It's kind of like Elizabeth Warren, isn't it? When she told the guy who confronted her in Iowa and said, "I had to work 2 jobs to help my kids go to college and pay off their student debt, and we paid off the student debt. And now you're telling me my neighbor who didn't do anything and has got a ton of debt, you're going to pay it off, right? So do I get my money back?" And she said, "Of course not."
Right. Well, here's the thing.
And then she laughed at him when he made that statement. Now talk about rubbing the taxpayers' nose and citizens who actually work.
Right.
This is the Democratic Party has been by the vote with promising everything for nothing. So it's absolutely ridiculous.
See, here's the problem with some of these promises for of everything for absolutely nothing. Okay.
One of our regular viewers just told me, very good turn of the phrase.
Yeah.
this is known as what? The Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's right.
And it is the Commonwealth.
That's it.
Very, very good.
True.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that little pun here, a little play on words.
Well,
but look at this Transportation Climate Initiative. That's horse manure. You see this traffic? Do you think anybody that doesn't belong in a mental institution is going to put up with that every single day because they want to? These people have to get to work. And they can't carpool, and they can't spend 2.5 hours on the T, and they can't spend an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes on a bus. They got to get to work.
That's it.
And they're trying to get to work and back from work as quickly as they can. Do you really think they want to sit in traffic in Boston? This has got nothing to do with carbon footprints. This has got to do with the money grab again of the government, because this state, like all governments, they just can't stop themselves. They are addicted to money.
Of course.
Not heroin. That's their heroin. That's their high. No matter how much they overtax us, it's never enough. $1.1 billion surplus in this state, and now they're going to raise this. That's manure. What are you going to do? But then, it's politicians do what they do best.
Well, politicians are doing, this being a presidential election season, we're getting to see a lot of promises. And the big promise is money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it gets to be crazy, because right now they're talking about, I'm going to forgive all student loan debt. If they do that, what bank is going to want to give a student loan to any kid? Student loan funds are going to dry up. They just won't have them anymore. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of people who can't go to college because they can't get a student loan. But they want to get the student loan, but they don't want to pay for it so they can get the college education. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, do I believe that somebody should be so far in debt that they can never get out of debt? Well, you should have known better when you were going to college.
Yeah, maybe they should rein in these $500,000 salaries for college presidents and stuff like that, and look at what they're making. These institutions are profit-making institutions. I don't care what they say. Even state colleges.
Of course.
People are making a lot of money. And as a matter of fact, all we have to do is look not too far back in the Wayback Machine and remember where Billy Bolger went to get his giant pay raise for his retirement. What did he become? The president of UMass.
And we don't even have to go back that far. Again, we can go back to our local former mayor, Ed Lambert.
Ed Lambert, who's making
almost $500,000 a year.
Yeah, well,
and what's he doing? He's making $345,000 or something along that line. It's close enough to $500,000 in my opinion.
Look, who cares about when they get that large? Nobody cares, because we're going to get into some numbers.
It's a few thousand here or there.
Yeah,
what's the big deal?
Yeah, it's like, before you know it, a million here, a million there.
That's right.
And then you're talking real money. It's like Bloomberg. Who cares? We're going to make all kinds of commercials and rise to fourth in the polls, and has never attended a debate, never done anything except ads. It shows how gullible and how malleable the electorate is, and that's one of the problems in this country. And they want everything for nothing. I saw a legislator on television today talking about that, and I guarantee you will see an excerpt of that video on campaign commercials during the campaign season if Elizabeth Warren ever gets within sniffing distance of the nomination. Because it is a telling thing. And that legislator said, look, the guy's right. He's being penalized for working and paying his debts. And the person who does nothing and goes out and parties and has their and takes a vacation gets to get it for free. That's not right. And are you right, CJ? You are 100% right. The cost of education is far too high in this country.
It's gotten out of control.
It is out of control. You're right. It is out of control. And you know something? Good teachers should be paid. But you know something? There's way too much bureaucracy in the educational system on all levels. We do not need a CFO for middle schools in Fall River. We do not need CFOs, period, in a community this size. The first time, we don't need deans of students in middle schools. Deans. That title used to really have some weight with it, remember?
Yep.
Because the first time you ever saw a dean, you were in college. You never saw a dean in grammar school and middle school, but now we've got deans, and there's your costs. But now, since we're talking about so much costs, let's go back to what we began to discuss on last show, Mary Sahady and her contract. And we've been doing a little research, and I was doing numbers, and I have to be perfectly frank, I have to double check them. But we are pretty confident on the CPI-U that is in her contract, and I believe I said it on the last show. Very dangerous precedent. If anybody can tell me, please do so, if there's ever been an employee in this city with an automatic pay raise based on any consumer price index, be it the Northeast Consumer Price Index or any they do not give you automatic pay raises, because that means they give you a pay raise even when they can't afford it, because they're obligated to do it. So who do they give those pay raises to historically? Politicians. The only people I know that got an automatic pay raise, no matter how bad the economy is or how tough a position the state or the city is in, are politicians. Our legislature, after the Halloween massacre so many years ago, when the voters had to vote on their pay raises, got rid of that. They used their legislative power for corrupt and greedy purposes. They changed the rules. They just changed the rules. Oh, you don't want me to get a pay raise when you can't get a pay raise? Screw you, taxpayer. Right? Again, we're going to make sure we get a pay raise whether you like it or not, and we're going to do it so deviously that you'll forget we're getting them, unless somebody writes about it in the paper.
Well, look at what they did last year. Last year, they gave themselves pay raises that took them all over to $100,000.
Yep.
And they cloaked it by saying that this is going to be for constitutional officers only, and the legislature. And they gave Charlie Baker a huge raise. He vetoed it. And of course, the House and Senate already had the votes to pass it. And Charlie Baker said, well, I'm not going to take the pay raise, but he had to take the pay raise. So it's nice to talk and nothing happens.
Well, we have them here. We have them from 09 to 19.
I figured 10 years was long enough.
Yeah, well, the thing is, to be fair, and we try to be fair here.
Yep.
But we also try to be accurate. I didn't want to go back to 09 in computer, because the number would have been like this long.
Yep.
It would have been it might have actually gotten into 7 figures by the time we got, but or very high 6 figures. So what I did was, with my little handheld computer,
Your number box.
I just went back 4 years, because Mary Sahady's been around for about 4 years, right?
Yes, she has.
Approximately 4 years. So I just went back to 16, 17, 18, and 19. Now I'm going to give you a little example of what happens with the multiplier principle. Okay, in 2016, everybody get your little thinking caps out there. These are not too complicated, but they are telling and why and how this happens. And I've got some comparisons that will kind of drive home the point. 2016, we had and this is the thing, these CPIs seem very small, and people go, that's an insignificant, who cares, Well, the cops and the firefighters got 2%, but they went 0.02. So, and 0.1 and 1 or something. And so in 2016, the CPI-U was 1.3%. Follow me, CJ.
I'm following.
I know, 1.3. So 1.3. So I took her salary right now under a new contract to show you the dramatic effect this little thing has. And we're not talking about any performance bonuses or anything that's stuffed in. So I started her off in 2016 making $130,000, which I believe is her new contract figure.
Correct.
So if you take the 1.3, it's actually a $1,690 increase. There's no multiplier principle because that's the first year I computed it. So her salary would go from $130,000 to $131,690. So even a $1,600 pay raise, that's a pretty big pay raise. So you look at that and go, wow, that's $1,600, $1,000. That's basically more than $1,000. You're looking at that, you go, wow, 1,600 divided by 52. All right, little tiny, that's the first one. Now, here's where the multiplier principle kicks in. It's very small and insidious, but it builds up. 2016 to 2017. 2017, the CPI went to 2.1. With a 2.1 increase, she gets, because her salary was elevated from 130 to 131,690, here's the multiplier principle. She got $2,765.49, $2,765.49. Had they not put that in her base, she would have got $2,730. So there was already a $35 slight multiplier principle, which continues to escalate as we go through. Then we go to 2018 at 2.4, and this time she gets a $3,226.93. Then we go to 2019 with a 1.8, and she gets an additional $2,478.28. The grand total for those 4 years is $10,160.70, which comes out to $195.40 a week. The per capita income, based on 2018 statistics from the United States Census Bureau for the average per capita income, individual income in Fall River, is $24,600. So let me draw you a little comparison. The average person in Fall River gets $473.08 a week. Mary Sahady got $195 and $195.40 for just a pay increase, which will now make her salary per week $2,695.40. Their average monthly salary is $1,800. And her average salary is, I don't even know where I got it on paper now, but it's a lot. Just do the math. $10,160 without ever going before the council, without ever saying, I got a $10,000 pay raise. And every year we go up now, it's going to go up forever. Because this is always computed on, because it doesn't really say on the adjusted base, but it's, the base will ultimately be adjusted by the pay raise, and then next year when they take the CPR, you'll have it on an adjusted base. So in 4 years, with relatively small CPIs, 1.8, 1.3, 2.1, 2.4. Now, there are others that go up as high as 3.2 over this 10-year period. And if there was maximum inflation without a cap, it could go much higher. And like I said, the only people who have ever gotten this before were politicians, because they don't give a damn how much money they give themselves, because they'll just tax you and I more to pay their salaries. And the other people in Fall River, the only people I know of who had an automatic pay raise were the city council and the mayor. No employee, in spite of the fact that I asked for it virtually every contract negotiation. And I always said, listen, the city council can get it, why can't we get it? I will forego pay raises forever. I'll never make another wage demand if you give me an automatic pay raise every year based on a consumer price index. And you know what? They laughed me out of the room. Are you crazy? That's way too much. So dangerous precedent being set with this contract. And you take into the fact the performance over the years, or lack thereof. I don't know. This is really scary. This is really scary, and I'll do quickly.
And remember, those numbers are only if she doesn't get a performance bonus.
That's right.
Now, if she gets a performance bonus, those numbers are going to be even higher. And
Yeah.
it seems that nobody can say she's not doing well.
Well, yeah, well, I'm just going to do quickly because I can't find it on the
Right.
page. I got so many damn numbers.
It's like, Mary Sahady, can you give me the numbers for the cost of that bond? I'll get them to you next week. You don't know?
Okay. Let me double check.
To me,
this.
that's a
Let
weak
me-
performance review, in my opinion.
Okay. She's making over $10,000 a week, I mean a month, I'm sorry. $10,000 a month versus the average citizen in Fall River is making $1,892.32 a month, and she is making 10,000, over 10,000.
And remember, that's people who make...
10,781, 10,160, whatever, depending on the multiplier.
And that's people who have jobs. What about
That's
people who
right.
are on a fixed income? They're
Oh,
getting
yeah,
less than
and this is
$25,000
what-
a year.
And this is what gets me. And you brought me to, I almost forgot it. I'm gonna speak for the liabilities of which I am one, that she called the retirees. I don't see any cap on her cost of living raise because it's based on a CPI. She can get whatever it wants. So we looked at her pay raises during those times. First year, $1,600. Second year, $2,700. I'm rounding. Third year, $3,000. Fourth year, $2,000. So in those three, about $10,160. You know what a retiree gets in the city of Fall River as a maximum pay raise? $360 a year. A year. Less than $1 a day. So let me see how many years of the pay raise she got, their pay raise. Let's cap hers. She talked about a liability. She'll be retiring soon. And I really don't want her to become the kind of liability that she will be. So let's cap her automatic pay raises at $360, $12,000, like retirees are. And we have one of the lowest in the state. So let me divide this quickly. Well, guess what, CJ?
Tell me.
It will only take 28.2 years of pay raises for a retiree to match what she just got over the 4 years.
And that's if they get everything.
That's if they get every year,
That's right.
because that's not a guarantee. Because the city sometimes tries to fight that less than $1 a day pay raise, because they don't have enough money. But they got enough money to pay Mary Sahady and an auditor and a treasurer and a city administrator. But we don't have waste in government. No, not at all. Not at all. We don't have any waste. Absolutely.
But I'll bet you when Mary Sahady becomes a liability and she's collecting a huge pension that she's not entitled to.
The only good thing about that will be I wish her the happiness of living as long as Methuselah. Because even her giant pension with that big salary and all her money, she's going to have to get the $360 a year like everybody else. And after a while, you've lived too long. Because no matter how good your pension was when you retire, if you're fortunate enough to enjoy your retirement a long time, $360 a year does not keep you up with anything. Doesn't even pay your increase in your medical premium.
That's it.
So what's happened, and I've seen it, that's why 60% of the retirees in the city of Fall River are living now on pensions of $25,000 or less. And that is criminal when somebody gets this kind of money with all the help she gets. Treasurers, auditors, CFOs, BFOs, and all kinds of other letters, which I would like to spell out, but I can't. So those are just some numbers, people, to you to know what this contract is going to, and especially you, council. I hope you're watching. I hope you're watching. We will be glad to provide, or do them yourself. The per capita income I stated was right this morning. I made sure it hadn't changed since I looked it up a month ago. Based on 2018 statistics, the average per capita income in the city of Fall River is $24,600, $473.08, $1,892.32 per month. So let's just do the math. Then do the math on the CPIs. We got the CPI from, CJ, you got the full sheet?
Department of Labor.
What do they know? Forget about it. So if this doesn't give you a weekend to be angry, I don't know what will. I just, So what more can you say? The numbers speak for we're not making these things up. CJ and I didn't sit up all last night trying to make this look worse than it is.
We don't have to.
We don't have to, that's right. In the last 4 years, the total CPI-U was 8.6%. How many of you out there get 8.6% over the last 4 years? There are some of you that haven't had a raise in 4 years. And then we get the Chamber of Commerce whining, don't raise the minimum wage, we'll all go bankrupt. Yeah, let's not give those people $15 an hour. Yeah, they might make too much money and we'll all be bankrupted, but let's pay us. Cumulatively, they're stealing the bank. But what I get most is, and I'll tell you what, I'd go to arbitration on this one if I was still running a union, because I'd say, look, you give it to, they could say, well, we've never given it to an employee before. Well, now they have.
Exactly.
I'd take a shot. Because what the hell? If an arbitrator rules, they're bound.
Yep.
The council's got to, they're bound to present it to the council. And then what's the council going to say? If you approve Mary Sahady's contract with this in it, how are you going to not approve police, fire, DPW, or some other union that went to arbitration and got that same award? I can see this coming in the future.
Oh yeah.
Like Karnak.
It's going to be interesting, but you got to have a union president that's got the gonads to do that. Because if he don't have the cojones, it's not going to happen, and you know that.
Well, everybody have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed your mini vacation on Monday, and we will see you all on Monday.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Stay angry.